You thought termites were bad. Orgrimmar is now infested with angry bug people, and so it's your job to clear them out, seeing as everyone else is AFK or waiting for a res. This is the guide to LFR Paragons. Bug spray is recommended, though you may want to buy in bulk. You will have to fight 9 bosses, 3 at a time. Each time one dies, the other 2 are healed to full and receive a stacking damage buff. Because of this, you'll want somebody to mark one of the bosses with the skull at a time. The order isn't massively important, so don't worry about it too much. The main thing is that players just focus on one boss at a time. Make sure not to let the buffs stack too high. I will put a kill order in the description for you so you can copy and paste it and maybe print it out and have something to work with if you do want to do it like a turtle boss. Many guides say the order changes every week, but I think that Blizz has changed it to be a fixed order all the time. The various bosses will apply stacking debuffs of certain kinds. Some of these debuffs will make the tank take more damage from a certain ability of another boss. This means that tanks can't just take any boss. Skier and Dissector should be tanked separately. The Wind Reaver and the Poisoned Mind should also be tanked separately. The Dissector will also use Injection. This will put a debuff on the tank dealing damage, and after a while it will expire, creating a whole bunch of parasites that are just absolutely horrible. The tank can use Active Mitigation to avoid getting these stacks. Active Mitigation is from Savage Defense, Blood Shield, and the brew that gives you dodge. If you have those buffs up on you when Inject is used, then you will gain no stacks, which means no really annoying ads. Skier will summon bloods that move to a low health boss, and when they reach it, they will heal it. They can be stunned and killed. Make sure that the bloods don't reach the boss. Hsek will use aim on a random player. This will stun them and deal huge damage shared between everyone in a line in front of the player. Each player that gets hit will deal some damage to players within 5 yards, so stand in a line spread out 5 yards apart to spread the damage, while not killing each other with AoE. The Locust will plop down puddles of muck on the ground. Get away from and stay away from the muck because it hurts. He will also use Whirling, stunning everyone in a line and making them deal damage to anyone near them. If you move out of his way, you can avoid it. It is hard to avoid though and can be healed through. Do your best to avoid it, but if you get hit, you should be fine. Corvin the Prime will use Encase in Amber on a low health boss. This will begin a cast. At the end of the cast, it will heal the boss, so make sure to focus down the Amber. The Amber will have to be targeted separately. It doesn't have much health, so it can be nuked down quite easily if players focus it. He will also stun his current tank with Shield Bash, and then start channeling a very powerful frontal cone attack. The other tank can taunt when the one tank gets stunned. Everyone else make sure to avoid the frontal cone, and keep in mind that Corvin may suddenly turn. He also applies a stacking dot that deals quite heavy damage, so reset your stacks every so often by not taking the boss until it falls off. Feel free to use cooldowns when tanking Corvin because he hurts a lot. The Lucid will make players be connected by lines of fire. Avoid the lines of fire, and if you are on one of the points of the lines, then move away from the other players with it. The further away the players are, the lower the damage of the lines. The Lucid tank must not ever fall below 25% health or he can be one-shot, so keep him healed up. The Manipulator will summon Hungry Kunchong ads. These will be immune to all damage and will occasionally fixate on a player and move towards them while pulling the player towards them as well. When this happens, DPS should nuke the Kunchong. When its health gets low enough, it will stop the fixate. If the ads walk over a player, they will be one-shot. The ad has an energy bar, and when it is full, it will become a big ad that needs to be tanked. The big ad will have a frontal cone attack, so keep it pointed away from players. The boss will also send out bolts of sound that deal damage to anything in its path, so stay spread and avoid the front of the boss. The Poisoned Mind will apply a stacking debuff on the tank just by hitting them. This must not reach 10 stacks or the raid will take damage, so use Active Mitigation just like the other boss. While you have abilities like Savage Defense up, he will not apply the debuff and your stacks can fall off. He will also put catalysts on random players. He will then use toxins that make the catalyst abilities activate. Stack up for the blue toxin, spread out for red, and stay away from the muck on the ground from yellow. The Wind Reaver will deal heavy damage to the tank and leap around dealing damage to players. Avoid the leap if possible, but just spread out to avoid moving as much as possible. Use Bloodlust at the start and be awesome. And that's it for the Paragons. It has a lot of abilities, but once you do the fight a bit, you should have a pretty good idea of how it goes, so don't be intimidated. It's really not that bad. I hope you found this guide helpful. For more guides, remember to subscribe and check the description for links to playlists. Now go cleanse Orgrimmar of these horrible creatures, and maybe we'll give you a bag of gold. Money is tight after all. Hard times. The hero payment system is suffering with Garrosh spending it all on bug food.